we have been starved by our gaming overlords. A famine of Doom the Dark Ages information has swept across YouTube and beyond. Minor food sources have been found, however, they were all but enough to quell the hunger of this community, until now. We have finally been fed, and oh boy, we've been fed good. The sheer amount of nutrients and testosterone showcased here today was enough to make all of the muscles in my body spontaneously double in size, and I mean all the muscles in my body.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, in all seriousness though, we got a lot of information about Doom the Dark Ages today at the Xbox Developer Direct. And better yet, earlier this week, I attended a private Q&A with Marty Stratton and Hugo Martin, which gave me a lot more exclusive information to talk about here. So without further ado, what is it like to play Doom the Dark Ages? First things first, this game is not Doom Eternal 2. If you went into this expecting this game to be Doom Eternal 2, you will be greatly disappointed. And this is something that we've known for a good while. This game is still fast-paced, but it's more grounded than Eternal, which is something I personally really like. The Slayer feels a lot heavier this time, and as revealed by Hugo Martin during that Q&A session, they've done a lot of work behind the scenes to make the Slayer really sound heavy as well with their sound team. And of course, it's not just an audio thing, the Slayer himself is heavy, and he hits heavy. The sheer force with which you can hit your enemies in this game is really incredible, and it really shows off the new destructible demons system. You can quite literally blow a Hell Knight's arms off of its body and have it still be living there, just waiting for you to put it out of its misery. And actually, this takes me onto the weapons, because oh my god, they are amazing. In the Dev Direct, Hugo Martin describes these weapons as torture devices.
Ancient, brutal torture machines built to butcher, impale, and shred the minions of hell with.
And now this description of torture devices seems more than fitting. I mean, just look at them. Of course, we have the classic super shotgun, returning in what is possibly the most brutal iteration of it out of any of the Doom games. This thing absolutely dismantles the demons. The accelerator has been seen in a lot more detail here than we've ever seen it before. Not only does it look awesome, but it also confirms the return of weapon mods. Here what we can see can only be a weapon mod for the accelerator. And it also looks like the Quake nail gun if you didn't notice that. Again, talking of stuff returning, the combat shotgun returns, and it looks kind of similar to the one in Doom Eternal. I 100% like its design, and it definitely looks a lot more beefy than the one in Doom Eternal. Now, for the weapons you've all been waiting for, the Skull Crusher absolutely blew me away. It looks just as cool as it did in the original trailer, if not cooler. Of course, as we saw in the original trailer, this weapon has a absolutely massive spread. Oh my god, I can't believe I just did that. But then again, this does leave me wondering, how powerful will this weapon even be? A lot of weapons with huge spreads like this aren't usually that good. And now, the part I was most personally excited for in terms of weapons was the rail spike.
Impale.
Pinning enemies to the wall is something that I've always found cool, and it looks even cooler in this game. The weapon does have a bit more of an arch to it when you fire it at a distance, which makes me believe either A, it does have a giant arch to it regardless, or B, it can be upgraded to remove this and make it more of a direct shot, like the railguns we've seen in previous games. One of the biggest and most exciting additions to the game was the shield saw, and we finally got the opportunity to see it in action. The shield saw has many functions, most of which we've already heard about. The ground pound, the dash thing, blocking, the parry, and of course, the ability to throw it, all of which we've been able to see in a lot more detail this time around. When the shield's thrown, it'll slice through smaller enemies like butter, and when thrown at a larger enemy, it'll get stuck in them and continuously spin around, and I assume doing damage over time. But in terms of the new stuff, the Slayer can kind of use it like a translocator from Quake, which I think is a replacement of sorts for the Meathook points that were seen in the Ancient Gods. Along with using it like a teleport, you can now deflect enemies' projectiles back at them. This did remind me a lot of Ultra Kill, but I'm not complaining. However, I am curious to see just what the extent of the enemy's projectiles we can throw back at them is, because of course there's got to be a limit. Some projectiles just have to be too big, surely? And actually, speaking of big, the enemies in this game are huge. We've seen the Argadon Hunter in action properly this time, and I gotta say, I love it. And along with that, we've also seen this new winged version of the Cyber Demon. And even this thing? Yeah, this thing honestly looks like something out of Quake 4, but I totally love it actually. And now, as confirmed by Hugo Martin during the Q&A that I attended, this is one of the biggest AIs that id Software has ever made, and I'm really interested to see how he works properly, because we didn't really get that much gameplay of him. We also have the return of the armoured enemies from Doom Eternal's DLCs. However, instead of it being a Baron of Hell, who we've yet to see, this is a Hell Knight, and honestly, I love his design. I do think the armoured enemies in this game look a lot better than the ones in Doom Eternal's DLCs. There's just something so ancient and evil looking about his armour. It honestly reminds me of something from Doom 3. And now, as we can see in these trailers, there is a lot of enemies in any given arena, and the arenas are absolutely huge. Now, of course, the levels in this game are really big. They'll be packed full of secret areas to explore, which will reward you with loot to upgrade your character. But as some were anxious about this, I do feel I have to say, this game is not an open world game. Doom fans across the world can rejoice in knowing that their favourite series is not being ruined by open world.
Yeah, my jam.
Now you may be thinking, Beansprout, you're hiding something from me, I just know it. And well, you'd be right. But I'm tired of hiding. It's time to talk about it. Melee. This is the most we've ever seen the melee in this game, and I've gotta say, I love it. Who knew that introducing melee into Doom would actually be really cool? We have 3 melee options here. A flail, a hammer looking thing, there's also an electric punch by the way. Apparently this melee system works kind of like the blood punch, where I assume you'll have to kill enemies to charge it up, as you can only get 3 charges that can be strung along into a combo. It also appears to me that killing enemies with this melee option will give you back ammo, but I'm not entirely sure yet. And actually that does bring me onto the glory kill system. It has been completely overhauled in this game. Not only do the enemies no longer flash yellow and blue, but there's also no longer any pre-animated animations for them. Instead, the kills look a lot more fluid. I personally am going to miss these animations, but at the same time, I'm really excited to see how fast-paced this game's gonna feel with this new glory kill system. And now, I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. We got given a lot of information at this event, and really, it was too much information for me to cover in one video. So for stuff like the dragon and the mech, I'm gonna make a separate video where I discuss those in a lot more detail, because there is stuff from the Q&A that I'd like to talk about with them. For now though, if you enjoyed this video, you can click on any of my other videos appearing on screen. If you like Doom, you'll like these. If you'd like to support the channel further and allow me to keep creating videos such as this one, then I highly recommend clicking the join button. Not only does it support me, but it also gives you a bunch of perks for you to take advantage of. But as always, thank you for watching, and have a nice day.